Hi, my name is Katie Terry. I'm a part of the teaching, reading, writing, content area. And I just want to talk about what I got out of this chapter, go over some of the Lent questions, my response, and as well what I got out of this module from reading over and looking at everything in this module. So the first question in the Lent questions is, how many different ways of writing can you identify in your discipline? So my discipline is ELA, and I would like to be a middle school teacher. So in ELA, you need writing, and that is a main focus of the curriculum itself. So a way that I would like to start out the day is a writing activity, and I would like students to have a journal entry. So students would have 5 minutes at the beginning of class to write in their journal, and this just gets their mind turning just as they come into the class. And sometimes I'll give them a topic at the beginning of class or write it on the board of what I want them to write about, or just have them free write, or as well just come up with a story. So this just helps start up the day and helps show students how writing can be fun in their own way. As well in the class, I would like to use the read, think, respond writing activity, and I found that in the book in this chapter 3. So as well in the class, we will read a short story sometimes or something like that, and I'll give a topic, and from there students must write up a response from what they read. So here I just don't want them to skim over what they read. I want them to think and analyze what they read about and give me a good response and making it a good response is including textual evidence from what they read and outside sources as well. Another great writing activity that I would like to include in the class that I got from this chapter is a talk back. So a talk back is a fun writing activity that stretches students to formulate their own opinion, and this formulates a strong knowledge response, and as well for students to build a confidence in discussing their own opinion and response to what they read. So this works well with students listening or reading to something, but I would like to use a short story or even an audible short story or a podcast on something that's very strongly cited, something that's very biased, so they can so we'll have the main author's main idea, and from there students will discover their own opinion and write their own response, and from there students will be able to discuss it in the class amongst each other. So the second question, how often do you use each of these ways of writing in a 2-week period, a grading period? How difficult will it be for you to let go of the idea that you must grade all writing? How will you change your writing assessment practices based on what you've read in this chapter? As a teacher, I have students, I want them to be able to write in their journal at least every day. So, and it doesn't have to be necessarily every day. It's not always going to work out every day, but at least every day. And it's not me grading them on grammar or spelling, but I would like for them to have a consistency with their writing. So I need, going into being a teacher, I need to remember that students are growing and furthering themselves in their ability to write as they continue to practice and have writing opportunities. So not everything will be graded. I will be using pre-tests and assessments after everything has been gone over, and just continuing to assess them throughout the course and see where they're at, where they're at before going over everything, and see where they're at after as well, after going over everything. So not everything will be graded, and with these tests, not all of these assessments will be graded, especially the pretest. The pretest will not be graded because that's just for me to just know where they're at and what all I need to go over or re-go over, reevaluate with the class. So with the read, think, respond writing activity, I want to be able to use that twice a week, so 4 times in a 2-week period. And at the beginning of the year, I'm not necessarily going to grade it, but I will grade it on their participation. So with this, I need them to actually be writing something and not, simply not. It's not going to, the grading isn't going to be based on grammar or spelling, same as the journaling, but as they continue to grow, I will be able to grade them on spelling and on their grammar and the structure of how they're responding. As well, with the talkbacks, I want to use that twice, once a week, but twice every 2 weeks, hopefully. And I want, at the beginning of the school year, I definitely want to focus on participation. So whenever they do, after they read and after they respond, I'm going to focus on the participation in their small groups that they're going to have at the beginning of the school year. But as time progresses and as we continue to grow in the school year, I want to focus in on their responses as well. But I would like for them to gain a confidence in their writing, so we're not having to evaluate every single detail in their writing as a grade. So something that I learned from this chapter, it's from Willis. He states that with writing students, it's the most valuable practice teachers can use to further deep learning and creativity while supporting academic, social, and emotional intelligence. I think this is really great and profound, and because that's why I think of like the journaling, and it would be great for students to just gain a confidence in writing, because as you continue to write, you grow, you learn, and you can find new things to write about and to learn about in the classroom. So writing is not always going to be focused on ELA. It's science, it's social studies, it's math as well, because it's great to explain your opinion, your thought on things and how you got there. So, and something that I got out of this module from reading is looking over the scaffolding. So instructional scaffolding is a process through which a teacher adds support for students in order to enhance learning and aid in the mastery of tasks. So as I continue to build with students and their experiences, I'm learning how they are, where they're at as students, and they are able to learn these new skills. So from this scaffold, I was able to see a great example of how children are, how babies are. And as they continue, we're going to be along the way and continue from the beginning to help them and to see where they're at. If they, as a baby, you have to be held, but as they continue to grow, you're going to help them walk, and sooner or later they're going to be able to walk on their own. and have that confidence to be able to walk on their own. And in this case, write in their own confidence that of what I've assigned them. So as I continue to instruct them, I'll be able to gradually, not necessarily remove instruction, but remove so much instruction. And the third question, what one writing activity that you've read about in this chapter can you adapt to meet your needs? As I was reading, a great writing activity that I would like to incorporate in the classroom as a teacher is the From Content to Story writing activity. This is great for students to get a different perspective from their own, and this is great as well for the RFT raft graph. So this is for students to know their role, audience, format, and topic for the narrative. So basically from content to story is they're going to read a story. In this case, in my classroom, I would love and enjoy for students to be able to read our nonfiction novel in the classroom. That's it's Night by Elie Wiesel. So from Night, they're going to be able to get into his perspective during World War II as someone who is Jewish and on the run and being put into being put into that predicament at the time. So with that, students get a different perspective, and from here students expand understanding and perspectives with this writing activity and will be able to engage in the writing. It's a great opportunity for students to they're able to gain confidence in their own writing. They're able to explore other cultures, other perspectives, especially in this nonfiction novel that we would include in the classroom. And it would be a great activity. And is utilized greatly in other disciplines, as I was reading through the chapter in chapter 3. So I got a lot out of this chapter, and I'm feeling very great about this chapter from getting a lot of knowledge under my belt about writing. And thank you.